welcome back to another video! This week I actually feel like I'm on time for one of these trends. Usually I'm always like 3 months late to the party, but this time I feel like, yeah, it's picking up, people are still doing it, it's not just me 50 years late to the party, but I'm making a Spidersona this video, and I just started seeing it around YouTube first and then on Instagram, and I was just like, this made me so happy because I did just recently see Into the Spider-Verse, and I absolutely love that film. Like, I could gush about it for hours, like the animation and the characters and all that stuff, and I'm just really glad that it's gotten such a good reception, of course, because it's just everyone's seeming to love it, even like the hardcore Spider-Man fans, hardcore animation fans, hardcore Marvel fans, everyone sees the good that is this film. And then it started this whole multi-universe trend thing, like Spidersona thing, which I'm all on board for because it's just really cool, and it's been awesome just seeing different like interpretations of spider people. And I always sort of found it interesting, especially like the first time I ever saw Venom. I thought it was like really cool to have like an all-black Spider-Man, even though it wasn't Spider-Man, but like I just thought it was a really cool concept. And then the first time I saw the Iron Spider and all that stuff, like it felt really cool to see that you could do this with Spider-Man and stuff like that, because I love the suit, but the red is kind of like, the red and blue is like iconic, but it's also really intense. And now that I'm older, I kind of get the point of like character design and all that stuff, and I get that in the original cartoons and animated series they kind of made it like super simple to redraw it. But yeah, I just really enjoy seeing how like you can take a similar concept and like reapply it many different ways to have like a websuit and stuff. But so I really also love just the fact that everyone's making their own versions. Like, you can see a lot of people's styles and the way they design the spider people and stuff like that. So I decided to join the bandwagon, and here we have Spider Candy. And the way this video is going to work is that I drew this, which was me basically just fiddling around trying to design the basis of it. Then I sketched her a couple more times, and then I do another one that's like in a fence pose with like some nice colouring and the background and stuff like that. But this is just me trying to figure out the design for it. And I kind of like, I could have gone for more like thumbnails and try a couple different alterations, but I just wanted to get settled on something that I was happy with and just draw more of it, rather than spending a lot of time working on trying to make something that was like super spectacular design wise. There's a couple things that make this spider person stand out as my own. First one's the mask goes up to like her hairline instead of going over her head, because she has long hair and it would create a weirdly shaped head, comic book physics aside. So instead of making the spider mask go over her head, I decided to make it go like towards her hairline, and then her hair sticks up the top, which is, the hair is longer than my hair currently is. It's shorter than it was at one point, but it's just a hairstyle that I had at one point with the red tips, because it's a Spidersona, so it makes sense to have nice tools of hair. And then the spider suit is like a dark grey, but the webbing design on it is coloured my sunset gradient, so like the colours that I have on my like the borders of my thumbnails, in my end screen, those colours I call it my sunset gradient. My friend Kid calls it the jewel gradient, but yeah, so the little spidery design things are the sunset gradient. I knew I wanted to use a sunset gradient in some places, but it's a very kind of, it's an eyesore a little bit. It's like very bright, and in my mind, like, superheroes are supposed to have some sort of capability of being flexible. You're like, if it's like the Naruto concept, like how could he like escape and like be sneaky in a bright orange suit? So I get that Spider-Man with a bright red suit, it's like, it's iconic, kind of can't change it, but I figured that like my Spidersona would be a little bit more stealthy, so I wanted something dark grey, but I really did want the sunset gradient. So I decided to make the sunset gradient sort of subtle in the little spider designs, and it ended up looking really cool, I think. And after that, I gave her roller skates. That's like the other bigger thing. She's wearing roller skates, and the roller skates are sort of adopted from this anime and manga called Air Gear. And in that show, they're called Air Trek, and they have like springs in them, and they also have like little motors in them. So like, think of the hoverboard thingy, but in roller skates. I think they've already invented them in real life, actually, at this point. I need to Google it some more. But yeah, she wears roller skates, but she also has the web shooter things. So I think like her main shtick would be like going really fast, because she builds up inertia swinging, and then she goes into the roller skates, and she's like super good at like turning herself around, so her weight kind of goes from one direction to another. I don't know, I thought it would be like a cool way, and it might like be an interesting way to fight on roller skates, plus web swinging, plus all the things that make spider people. And another thing that I did was I gave her fingerless gloves, because I don't really get how they can have a spandex suit still let the little hairs on Spider-Man's fingers stick on walls. Like, I guess there's some like sci-fi weird comic technology going on there, but never really made much sense to me. Plus, the fingerless gloves are kind of like biker gloves, and I think biker gloves and rollerblades kind of go together fairly well. So yeah, fingerless gloves. She's got like a big strap kind of belt thing, and then a little satchel on the side so she can keep like her phone, maybe a change of clothes, something like that, and then a bomber jacket just because why not? Bomber jackets, I imagine the bomber jacket's the first thing to go when she gets into a fight. The bomber jacket and getting her hair up in a ponytail when she's actually in a fight. But I'm not drawing a fight, I'm drawing her having fun around, swinging and doing all the fun things. And yeah, that was the basic psychology behind my Spidersona. Just roller skates, bomber jacket, sunset gradient and the webbing design on the suit. And yeah, after I decided to like finalize the design, I just started sketching different poses, and I love sketching like flying and jumping people, and I was like scrolling down Pinterest like crazy trying to find like fun poses. And if you're on Pinterest and you search up action poses, I'm sure some of these poses would be familiar to you. If not, then if you look it up, you'll recognize where I got the poses from. So I didn't come up with these, or most of these. I think the first one, not the standing one, and then the first one where she's got her legs out in front of her and she's got her arms in between her legs down swinging. I think those two are the original ones, and then after that they're all Pinterest taken poses. But I'm really happy. I had a lot of fun with this. It was around 4 hours of work altogether, and yeah, I just had a lot of fun. I realized while I was painting this that like, it's not that hands are not scary to draw, but it's just I am no longer scared of drawing hands, which is sort of an accomplishment. I think it was in particular when I was sketching this one right now that I just dashed in the hands really quick without even zooming in or something. Like, I might do a video about it later, if you're interested, let me know in the comments. But I don't know, I feel like I've kind of gotten to the point where drawing hands aren't scary anymore, which is kind of like mind-boggling to think about, because drawing hands is like, hands are really hard to draw. I've drawn so many of them at this point that like I'm kind of familiar with a lot of poses. But yeah, so I ended up zooming out and like numbering all of my sketches and sending a picture to a friend and said, which one do you like? And she said this one, and I go, alright, this one it is. So now I'm doing like a cleaner version of the sketch, just line art. It's still not like perfectly crisp, nice line art, but it's cleaner. And after that I'm going to colour it, I'm going to put like a sort of background thing on it, and I'm really excited about it, and I'm just really happy with how this turned out. And like the whole spread, like the sketches along the border, I kept like in the final saved image, because I think like another thing that I absolutely loved about seeing the Spidersona thing on Instagram especially was just how many like different little drawings people did for the Spidersona. Like, you can have like the progress from like rough sketch to like detailed in some of them, or you have some of them that are like the character design standing straight and then in a bunch of action poses like I did mine, or like expression sheets and all those sorts of things. I thought it was like really cool how much fun people had with the Spidersona, and how much they treated it like an actual character design, where you have to like, you don't, like, when you design a character, you don't just do like a pin-up pose. Like, you have to draw them multiple times to get to see how they move, like a turn around, just to really familiarize yourself with the design and to like work out all the nooks and crannies. The first, like, I didn't feel so confident about the design when I drew her standing up, but then when I drew her, like after the third time I drew her, I was like, this is a really mint design. And in a lot of the poses, you can't really see the little satchel thing on her hip, and I think that's just that works out. And I also had sort of trouble because she wears the bomber jacket like in her mid, like right after her shoulder. She doesn't wear it like up to her neck. She wears it like draping down, which is very dangerous in a fight. Would not recommend. Don't have things flopping about that enemies can grab onto. If you read any Naruto fanfiction or any Bleach fanfiction, you always know no capes, no flowing things, everything needs to be controlled and space you're aware of, so the enemies can't grab onto you unless you're really, really, really arrogant. But yeah, I just really liked the idea of the bomber jacket as like a fashion statement. It adds like so much like movement and flow, and that's also what I really liked of Into the Spider-Verse. They give Miles like his basketball shorts and a hoodie to wear over his suit, and yeah, I just also really like that about it just adds so much more personality, because there's only so much you can do with a skin tight suit. Like there's a lot you can do with a skin tight suit, but in terms of mood and showing movement and body types and all those sort of things, like a skin tight suit is kind of just a skin tight suit. But if you add clothes on top of a skin tight suit, then you can play around with things like this bomber jacket or the hoodie and shorts combo with like giant tennis shoes, or even like my roller skates. The roller skates are actually like separate roller skates. They're not like merged into the latex like I know some sorts of super suits have their big combat boots or something merged into them. No, it's like separate things. But yeah, the way that I colored this, it was like really simple. I just used my Magic Wand Select to just mask the whole thing, and then I started like clipping layers onto it with like different sections of color. So you have the mask, and then you have the hair, and then the white bits, and then the dark bits, and then the skin bits, and then I just started shading. Here I am grabbing the colors of the gradient that I made for the first one, and I kind of warped it around and then like kind of tweaked it some extra bits with like painting over it to try to get it to, you know, flow with this new pose, because I did the original one just standing up straight on purpose. So here it actually flows with the moving pose because the colors were actually mapped. Like this isn't a sci-fi overlay thing or camouflage or chameleon thing where the colors are always like just straight. This actually like moves and stuff. But yeah, I decided here there was the only design change that I did after the changing of like in the middle of the face to get some of the other colors, because it kind of seemed a little bit boring and like bleh to me that just the face was all yellow, when I really liked the actual sunset gradient of it. But it would have been harder to see if you just like it's good when you're zoomed out, but when you're zoomed in, you don't really get to see much of the sunset gradient. We just see the face. But yeah, I decided to like change it up a little bit. Here I am starting on the background of this scene after I did some basic shading and coloring and stuff, and I was like, I had no idea what I was doing with this. I just like started slapping down some colors and then like slapping down more colors, and then I decided to like go in with some line art to trick, because it wasn't giving me the feeling that I wanted. I wanted it to look busy, I wanted it to look like cluttered and stuff, like she's genuinely flying over a city that's full of life and stuff. So then I decided to go with like a lining brush to just add a lot of unnecessary details, and I wasn't taking care to make it like clean. I wanted it to be sketchy and rough because I felt like it would like give a good mood and stuff. So I'm really happy with the way it turned out, and I also wanted it to look a little bit surrealistic, so like it's kind of curved as in like a fisheye sort of thing, so it sort of separates the character from that background. As well with the way it's framed, I just grabbed my chalk brush and I like made a shape, and that's where the background is, so it's like painted onto the spreadsheet. I don't know, I'm really happy with how this turned out. I don't know if you can tell from my voice, but yeah, I really am happy with it. Another thing that I really liked about doing this like Spidersona thing is like I've drawn Spider-Man before a couple times, but never really like multiple times one after the other. So what I really liked about doing this was like, because every time I see Spider-Man drawings or a Spider-Man comic or even an animated series or something like that with Spider-Man, I just like love the way that when he's in the suit his eyes are so expressive, and I really like that in the Homecoming like Marvel Cinematic Universe of it, they were able to implement that with the suit that can like zoom in and stuff, because like the big white eyes, they're actually like really easy to draw but still really expressive and look super good. Like it's like A+ job on Stan Lee or whoever actually did the character design for it, because like super good and super easy to draw and super fun, and I love all the like expressions that I tested out while drawing this. Even though most of my like sketches and stuff have a very similar expression in the eyes, like I still really like it, and I just feel like I want to draw this a lot more. And yeah, right here I decided to go back into like the sketches that I wasn't going to render anymore and add the little like webbing details across it, just because I feel like the webbing detail is actually really important in my particular design. Even though if it's not colored, it still deserves to be like shown, and I feel like over the course of like adding them like really fast a couple times in a row, got like a good system for it. And yeah, I'm really happy. And then I also added like I changed the overall background color to something a little bit darker, a little bit more purpley, and then I added a little bit like splotches of color so you can, you know, see it from the rest of the background. So there's a lot of little elements in the same spreadsheet, and I'm like so happy with everything, how this looks, and I'm just really obsessed with how it came out, like so happy. So here's the final image of my Spidersona, Spider Candy. She's got rollerblades, she lets her hair loose, she wears a bomber jacket, and she has a little fanny pack thing on her hip. She's a really happy spider person. She uses inertia from her swinging to her roller skates and is super fast, gotta go fast, super fast. And yeah, let me know what you think, if you like it, if you don't. Let me know if you've done a Spidersona and stuff like that and what you think about it. I'm really happy with this, so I hope you like it as well. Leave a like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you all next week.